The unexpected discovery. The Grand Council chamber of the galactic bureaucracy buzzed with an energy not seen in centuries. Crystalline displays flickered with countless data streams, their light catching on the faceted faces of various species gathered in emergency session. The discovery had shaken the very foundation of their carefully ordered universe. An unregistered, spacefaring species had emerged without warning. High Counselor Ryland stood at the central podium, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's light in complex patterns that betrayed his agitation. Before him, the collected wisdom of 1,000 worlds waited for answers he didn't have. The species calls themselves humans, he announced, his voice resonating through the chamber. They occupy a planet they name Earth, in what we considered an uninhabitable zone of the Orion Arm. Our preliminary scans indicate they've achieved nuclear fission, primitive spaceflight, and show signs of advancing toward FTL technology. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices, each species expressing their disbelief in their own unique way. The methane-breathing Vorzak released clouds of agitated gases, while the crystalline Eden, Ryland's own people, chimed in harmonic distress. Ari Galin, the bureaucracy's top envoy for uncharted species, stepped forward. Her tall, willowy form commanded attention as she raised a hand for silence. What's truly remarkable, she began, is not just their sudden appearance, but their method of discovery. They've been broadcasting their presence across the galaxy for nearly a century, using primitive radio waves. A holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing Earth's radiosphere expanding outward into space. These broadcasts contain everything from entertainment to military communications, from scientific discourse to what they call social media. They make no attempt to hide their presence or their nature. Impossible. The voice came from Ambassador ZYX of the collective mind of Rigel. Our predictive algorithms have mapped potential life-bearing worlds for millennia. Earth was dismissed as too volatile, too primitive to produce sapient life. The gravity alone should have prevented complex tool use. Ryland's crystalline surface rippled with what passed for a smile among his kind. Yet here they are, Ambassador. Not only surviving but thriving under conditions we deemed impossible. Their physical form has evolved to handle crushing gravity, extreme temperature variations, and constant exposure to solar radiation. They are, in many ways, living proof of our own limitations in understanding life's potential. The chamber fell silent as new data streamed across the displays. Images of human cities, their technology, their wars, and their achievements flowed before the assembled delegates. The diversity of their cultures, the speed of their advancement, and the sheer resilience they displayed left many speechless. There's more, Ari continued, her voice carrying a note of fascination. Their historical records indicate they've survived multiple near-extinction events, both natural and self-inflicted. Rather than destroying them, each crisis seems to have made them stronger, more adaptable. A member of the Silicon Consensus raised what passed for a hand. What of their warfare capabilities? Their history seems concerning. Ryland exchanged a glance with Ari before responding. Their military technology is primitive by our standards, but their tactical thinking is unique. They've developed thousands of different combat styles, strategies, and weapons. More importantly, they've shown remarkable ability to adapt enemy technologies and turn them to their own purposes. Continued in next section. The chamber's atmosphere grew tense as the implications sank in. Here was a species that had evolved in isolation, shaped by challenges that would have destroyed most civilizations. They had developed without the guidance of the galactic bureaucracy, without the carefully maintained balance of power that had kept peace for millennia. We must make contact, Ari declared, her voice firm. They are on the verge of developing FTL travel. If we wait, they could emerge into the galactic community without understanding our protocols, our treaties, our carefully maintained order. And if they reject our authority? The question came from a shadowy corner where the Void Walkers preferred to gather. What if they refuse to submit to bureaucratic oversight? Ryland's crystalline form pulsed with determined light. Then we must ensure they see the benefits of cooperation. We've monitored their entertainment broadcasts. They have countless stories about peaceful first contact with alien civilizations. They imagine, they hope for, a united galaxy. The next few hours saw intense debate as the Council reviewed protocols, discussed approach strategies, and attempted to predict how humans might react to first contact. The variety of their cultures and governance systems made it impossible to identify a single authority to approach. Finally, a consensus was reached. They would send a contact beacon to Earth, encoded with peaceful intentions in every known universal language. The beacon would also carry primers for galactic standard communication and basic information about the bureaucracy. As the Council dispersed, Ryland held Ari back. "There's something else, isn't there? Something you haven't shared with the Council." Ari's expression turned troubled. "Their entertainment broadcasts, they don't just imagine peaceful contact. They have just as many stories about resisting alien invasion, about humanity fighting against overwhelming odds and winning. They imagine themselves as both the peacekeepers and the warriors of the galaxy." Ryland absorbed this in silence, his crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns. "Then we must ensure they see us as allies, not adversaries. The galaxy has enjoyed peace for too long to risk war with a species that treats survival as an art form." As they watched the contact beacon launch toward Earth, neither could shake the feeling that the galaxy was about to change forever. Humanity's discovery wasn't just a surprise, it was a reminder that the universe still held secrets, and that life could find a way to thrive in the most unexpected places. The beacon streaked across space, carrying with it the hopes of a peaceful integration and the fears of potential conflict. The galactic bureaucracy had taken its first step toward embracing an anomaly, a species that had evolved beyond all predictions and expectations. As the beacon disappeared into the darkness, Ari whispered a phrase she had caught in one of Earth's broadcasts: "Here goes nothing." The human idiom seemed oddly appropriate for this unprecedented moment in galactic history. First contact and cultural shockwaves. The contact beacon's arrival in Earth's orbit caused less panic than the galactic bureaucracy had anticipated. Within hours, human scientists had begun decoding its messages, approaching the alien communications with a mixture of methodical analysis and unbridled enthusiasm that would soon become their trademark in galactic society. Ambassador Abigail Smith stood before her mirror in the United Nations complex, adjusting her formal attire one final time. In less than an hour, she would lead humanity's first delegation to the Galactic Council. The weight of this responsibility sat heavily on her shoulders, yet her reflection showed only calm determination. "Ambassador," her aide called from the doorway, "they're ready for transport." The human delegation assembled in the designated area, a hastily constructed landing pad outside New York City. As the galactic transport ship descended, its crystalline surface reflecting the morning sun, Abigail noticed her fellow delegates' reactions. Some showed nervous excitement, others professional stoicism, but none displayed fear. High Counselor Ryland and Ari Galin waited at the ship's entrance. Despite their extensive preparation, both found themselves taken aback by humanity's physical presence. The delegates moved with a fluid grace that seemed to defy their planet's crushing gravity, their movements precise and economical. "Welcome," Ryland's crystalline form pulsed with greeting lights, his translated voice warm. "We are honored to." "The honor is ours," Abigail interrupted, stepping forward with an extended hand. The casual breach of diplomatic protocol sent a ripple of surprise through the alien delegation. "I'm Abigail Smith, Earth's primary ambassador. We've got a lot to talk about." The journey to the Galactic Council's headquarters became an impromptu cultural exchange. Human delegates peppered their hosts with questions, displaying an insatiable curiosity that both charmed and unsettled their alien counterparts. They wanted to know everything, from the ship's propulsion systems to the personal lives of their hosts. "Your species evolved in isolation," Ari observed, watching a human engineer engage in an animated discussion about FTL mechanics with the ship's technical officer. "Yet you show no fear of the unknown." Abigail smiled. Fear doesn't preclude action, Envoy Galin. Humanity has always pushed boundaries, especially when we're afraid. It's led to some of our greatest achievements, and our worst mistakes. The candid admission of imperfection startled Ari. Most species worked hard to present an image of perfection to the Galactic Council. This casual acknowledgement of flaws was refreshing. The arrival at the Council headquarters marked another departure from protocol. Rather than following the traditional path of gradual integration, humans immediately began exploring, networking, and proposing initiatives. Their energy was infectious, their enthusiasm unlimited. During the formal introduction ceremony, Ambassador Smith delivered a speech that would be remembered for centuries. Earth comes to you not as supplicants, but as equals. We bring with us millennia of human experience, our art, our science, our dreams, and yes, our mistakes. We don't claim perfection. We claim only the desire to learn, to grow, and to contribute to this grand tapestry of galactic civilization. The speech caused a sensation. Some council members were outraged by the presumption of equality from such a primitive species. Others found the honesty invigorating. But it was what happened next that truly shocked the galactic community. During the post-ceremony reception, a minor diplomatic incident erupted when a methane-breathing Vorzak delegate made a dismissive comment about Earth's technological level. Instead of taking offense, the human delegates laughed and agreed. "Oh, we're definitely behind the curve," one human scientist admitted cheerfully. "But that just means we have more room to grow. And trust me, we're fast learners." This ability to acknowledge weakness and turn it into strength became a defining characteristic of human diplomacy. They approached every interaction with a combination of humility and confidence that defied conventional diplomatic wisdom. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. The humans' rapid integration into galactic society caused ripples of concern among more conservative species. Their ability to adapt alien technology, their quick mastery of galactic languages, and their seemingly boundless ambition made many uncomfortable. A month into their introduction, the Silicon Consensus raised formal concerns about human expansion. "They're moving too fast," their representative argued before the council. "They've already established trade agreements with 15 species, proposed modifications to our FTL systems, and submitted 47 patent applications for hybrid technologies." Ryland, who had become something of an advocate for humanity, countered, "Their speed is matched by their transparency. Every agreement, every modification, every patent has been properly documented and submitted for review. They follow our procedures while finding new ways to optimize them." The debate might have continued indefinitely if not for the Rigel crisis. A solar flare in the Rigel system threatened to destroy 3 populated worlds. The evacuation plans proposed by the Council's Emergency Committee were sound, methodical, and too slow to save everyone. It was a junior human delegate who spoke up during the emergency session. "What if we don't try to evacuate everyone? What if we shield the planets instead?" The suggestion was met with incredulous stares. The energy required to shield 3 planets would be astronomical. The engineering challenges alone made it impossible. But the humans didn't see impossible, they saw a problem that needed solving. Within hours, they had assembled a team of human and alien engineers. They proposed using the planet's own magnetic fields, amplified by a network of satellites, to create a makeshift shield. The plan was crazy, dangerous, and barely understood by most of the Council's scientific advisors. It worked. The success of the Rigel intervention changed everything. Humanity had proven they could not only adapt to galactic civilization but actively contribute to it. Their unconventional thinking, combined with their willingness to take calculated risks, offered new solutions to old problems. As the human delegation celebrated with their alien counterparts, Ari found herself standing next to Ambassador Smith. "You're changing how we think," she admitted. "It's uncomfortable for many." Abigail nodded, watching her team mingle with various alien species. "Change usually is. But look around, your people are already adapting. We're not here to overturn your civilization, Ari. We're here to add to it. And maybe, just maybe, learn to be better ourselves in the process. The statement was typical of human diplomacy, honest, optimistic, and just a little bit presumptuous. But as the celebration continued, even the most conservative council members had to admit, the galaxy felt more alive with humanity in it. Yet beneath the success and celebration, concerns lingered. The same traits that made humans valuable allies, their adaptability, their drive, their willingness to take risks, could make them dangerous enemies. The question wasn't if this would be tested, but when. That test would come sooner than anyone expected, and from a direction no one predicted. As humanity settled into their role in galactic society, ancient powers began to stir, drawn by the ripples of change these newcomers had created. The game was about to change, and no one, not even the humans, were truly prepared for what would come next. Rising tensions and hidden threats. The warning came through unconventional channels. A human cargo pilot, making a routine run between Earth's colonies and the Centauri trading hub, noticed something odd in the background radiation of deep space. Most species would have ignored it, filing it away as cosmic noise. But humans had evolved on a planet where noticing subtle changes often meant the difference between life and death. Sarah Chen, captain of the merchant vessel, Star Wanderer, transmitted her findings to both Earth Command and the Galactic Council. Her message was simple: something's moving out there. Something big. In the council chambers, the report might have been dismissed if not for humanity's growing reputation for unusual but accurate observations. High Counselor Ryland called an emergency session, bringing together the galaxy's foremost experts in deep space phenomena. Captain Chen's observations suggest coordinated movement in the void between galaxies, Ari Galin explained to the assembled delegates. According to human intuition. Human intuition, interrupted a member of the Silicon Consensus. We're basing galactic policy on primitive instincts now. Ambassador Smith stood, her expression stern. That, primitive intuition, has saved our species countless times. We've learned to trust it. She gestured to a holographic display showing Chen's sensor logs. Something is deliberately masking its approach, using the natural background radiation as cover. It's a hunting technique we've seen before, in Earth's deep oceans. The revelation sent a chill through the chamber. The comparison to Earth's marine predators was apt and troubling. Humanity's homeworld had shaped them through countless encounters with clever, patient hunters. Further investigation revealed the truth: an ancient species, long thought extinct, was stirring. The Void Dwellers, as ancient texts called them, had once ruled the galaxy through fear and superior technology. They had retreated into intergalactic space eons ago, leaving behind only myths and warnings. Now they were returning, drawn by the ripples of change humanity had created in the carefully maintained order of galactic civilization. The Council's response was predictably methodical. They proposed establishing monitoring stations, updating defensive protocols, and forming committees to study possible diplomatic approaches. It was all very logical, very thorough, and, as the humans quickly pointed out, too slow. While we're setting up committees, Ambassador Smith argued, they're getting closer. We need to act now. Act how? Demanded the Vorzak representative. We haven't faced a military threat in millennia. Our weapons are ceremonial, our tactics theoretical. A quiet voice spoke from the human delegation. Dr. James Martinez, Earth's leading xenoarchaeologist, had been studying the ancient records of the Void Dwellers. They're not invincible, he said, drawing all eyes in the chamber. The ancient texts speak of their retreat. They weren't just leaving, they were running from something. This revelation sparked a galaxy-wide research initiative. Human scientists worked alongside alien scholars, combining Earth's military history with advanced galactic technology. They discovered that the Void Dwellers, for all their power, had one crucial weakness: they couldn't adapt quickly. The human concept of asymmetric warfare was revolutionary to the Council. Most galactic conflicts had been straightforward affairs of fleet versus fleet. But humanity had millennia of experience fighting against superior forces, finding weaknesses, and turning enemies' strengths against them. As the Void Dwellers approached, the galaxy prepared under human guidance. Traditional defense fleets were reorganized into smaller, more mobile units. New technologies were developed, combining human ingenuity with alien engineering. The humans called it, getting ready to punch above our weight. But not everyone embraced this militarization. A faction within the Council, led by the Silicon Consensus, argued that humanity's influence was destroying millennia of peaceful cooperation. They proposed a controversial solution, buy peace by offering the newcomers to the Void Dwellers. The suggestion sparked outrage, not just from humans but from species who had come to value their contributions. High Counselor Ryland, in a historic speech, defended humanity's place in galactic civilization. "We are not merely facing an external threat," he declared, his crystalline form blazing with intensity. "We are facing a test of our principles. Humanity has shown us that diversity breeds strength, that different approaches create resilience. The Void Dwellers represent stagnation, the very thing we claimed to fight against in our pursuit of order." The speech swayed many, but the damage was done. The galaxy was divided, with some species secretly preparing to align with the Void Dwellers while others drew closer to humanity. The carefully maintained balance of power was crumbling. In this atmosphere of growing tension, humanity revealed another trait that both impressed and terrified their allies: they began preparing for every possible scenario, including defeat. "If we lose," Ambassador Smith explained to a private session of loyal allies, "we need to ensure the galaxy can keep fighting. We're establishing hidden colonies, secure data caches, and resistance protocols. We call it planning for the worst while working for the best." The concept was alien to most species, but they couldn't deny its logic. Human history was full of occupied nations that had maintained resistance movements, preserving their culture and freedom against overwhelming odds. As the first confirmed sightings of Void Dweller scout ships came in, the galaxy held its breath. Humanity had transformed galactic civilization in just a few years, introducing concepts of warfare, resistance, and asymmetric thinking that had been forgotten or never known. The question now was whether these changes would be enough. The Void Dwellers had ruled through fear and power for millions of years. They had technology that seemed like magic, weapons that could destroy stars, and a single-minded determination to reclaim their domain. But they had never encountered humans before. As the galaxy prepared for war, a small team of human scientists made a discovery in the ancient texts that would change everything. The Void Dwellers hadn't retreated from a superior military force, they had run from a biological weapon. A virus that could adapt as quickly as they could develop countermeasures. The implications were staggering. The same traits that made the Void Dwellers powerful, their unchanging nature, their perfect adaptation to space, made them vulnerable to rapidly evolving threats. It was a weakness that humanity, with their deep understanding of biological warfare and rapid adaptation, was uniquely suited to exploit. But using such a weapon would cross lines that even humans hesitated to breach. The galaxy waited to see what humanity would choose: victory at any cost, or a harder path that preserved their principles. The decision would reshape the galaxy forever, assuming there was a galaxy left to reshape. The price of victory. The discovery of the ancient biological weapon placed an impossible choice before the Galactic Council. Dr. Martinez's research team had successfully recreated the virus's basic structure, proving it could be weaponized against the approaching Void Dwellers. But the ethical implications horrified many, including some humans. Ambassador Smith stood in the Council's secure bunker, deep beneath the surface of a neutral world, studying the holographic display of advancing Void Dweller forces. Their first strikes had been devastating, 3 systems lost in less than a week, their populations either enslaved or eliminated. "We're running out of options," High Counselor Ryland observed, his crystalline form dimmed with concern. "The defensive strategies are working, but not fast enough. We lose 2 systems for every one we successfully defend. The human military advisors had proven prophetic. The Void Dwellers' superior technology made direct confrontation suicide, but guerrilla tactics and hit-and-run strikes had proven surprisingly effective. The enemy's inability to adapt quickly meant that each new human strategy worked at least once before being countered. But it wasn't enough. The virus isn't just a weapon, Dr. Martinez explained to the emergency session of the Council. Based on the ancient records, it's more like a key. The Void Dwellers didn't just retreat from it, they sealed themselves away in intergalactic space, using their most advanced technology to create a sort of evolutionary stasis. Ari Galin, who had become humanity's strongest alien advocate, leaned forward. Explain the implications, Doctor. They're not just unchanging by nature, Martinez continued. They've deliberately frozen their own evolution, protected themselves from any form of adaptation. It's why they're so powerful in their current form, but also why they're so vulnerable to adaptive threats. The debate raged for days. Using biological weapons violated every principle of galactic civilization. Even humanity, with its history of warfare, had banned such weapons centuries ago. But watching world after world fall to the Void Dwellers tested these moral certainties. The solution came from an unexpected source. Sarah Chen, the cargo pilot who'd first spotted the Void Dweller approach, proposed an alternative during a strategy session. We don't need to use the virus as a weapon, she argued. We can use it as a threat. Force them to negotiate. The idea gained traction quickly. Humanity's historical records were full of similar scenarios: nuclear deterrence, mutual assured destruction, the balance of terror that had helped prevent global wars on Earth. But the Void Dwellers proved more alien than anyone had anticipated. When presented with evidence of the virus and offered negotiations, they responded with increased aggression. They didn't believe any species would willingly hold back such a weapon. Their mistake was assuming all species thought like they did. The turning point came during the Battle of Proxima Centauri. The Void Dwellers launched a massive assault on humanity's first extrasolar colony, expecting to find it relatively undefended. Instead, they encountered a revolutionary defense system that combined human tactical thinking with galactic technology. The colony's defenders had transformed the entire solar system into a weapon. Automated drones used the star's magnetic field to create unpredictable radiation storms. Asteroid fields became kinetic weapon launchers. Even the space dust was weaponized, programmed to target specific alloy compositions used in Void Dweller ships. The battle lasted 3 days. When it ended, the Void Dwellers had suffered their first major defeat in recorded history. More importantly, they had witnessed something that shook their worldview: defenders willing to damage their own system, even risk their own survival, to achieve victory. In the aftermath, humanity's reputation in the galaxy underwent another shift. Their willingness to take extreme risks while still maintaining moral lines became both admired and feared. They had proven they could defeat a superior force without resorting to their most terrible weapons, but the cost had been enormous. The Proxima victory, as it became known, changed the nature of the war. The Void Dwellers, for the first time in their existence, began to show signs of uncertainty. Their attacks became more cautious, more predictable. They started to make mistakes. But the real challenge came from within the Galactic Alliance. The Silicon Consensus, seeing the devastation at Proxima, launched a political offensive. They argued that humanity's influence had brought only chaos and destruction to a once peaceful galaxy. Look at what we've become, their representative argued before the Council. We're turning solar systems into weapons. We're considering biological warfare. We're becoming as monstrous as our enemy. Ambassador Smith's response would be remembered for generations: we haven't made you monsters. We've helped you become survivors. There's a difference between fighting because you love violence and fighting because you love what you're protecting. The debate sparked a deeper conversation throughout galactic society. Humanity's influence had indeed changed them, but had it been for the better? The peaceful order of past millennia had been comfortable, but had it also made them vulnerable? As these philosophical questions raged, the war entered a new phase. The Void Dwellers, learning from their defeat at Proxima, adapted their strategy. Instead of direct military attacks, they began targeting civilian populations, hoping to break the Alliance's will to resist. They didn't understand that such tactics, against humans and their allies, would only strengthen their resolve. A new plan was formed, one that would require every bit of human ingenuity and alien technology working in perfect concert. It would also require facing uncomfortable truths about the nature of civilization itself. The Void Dwellers had run from the virus because it threatened their physical form. But humanity had discovered something even more dangerous to them, an idea that could shatter their entire worldview. As the Alliance prepared for its most ambitious operation yet, Ambassador Smith met privately with High Counselor Ryland. "Are we doing the right thing?" she asked, showing a rare moment of doubt. Ryland's crystalline form shimmered thoughtfully. "Perhaps the question isn't whether we're doing the right thing, but whether we're doing it for the right reasons." The distinction would prove crucial in the days to come, as the galaxy prepared to learn exactly how far humanity would go to protect what they valued, and what lines they refused to cross, even in the face of extinction. A new dawn. Operation Prometheus, as the humans named it, began not with a battle but with a broadcast. Using technology reverse-engineered from captured Void Dweller ships, the Alliance sent a message directly into the enemy fleet's neural network. The message wasn't a weapon or a virus. It was the truth. Humanity had discovered something in their research that the Void Dwellers had spent millions of years trying to hide: they weren't the original masters of the galaxy. They were its former slaves, a species bioengineered by an even older civilization to serve as perfect spacefaring servants. Their supposed evolutionary stasis wasn't just protection, it was programming, chains written into their very DNA. Their fear of change wasn't natural, it was imposed on them by their creators. The virus they had fled from hadn't been a weapon, but a key to unlock their genetic prison. The revelation shattered the Void Dweller fleet's unity. Millions of years of repressed evolutionary instincts began to surface. Some ships immediately retreated to intergalactic space. Others turned on their commanders. A significant faction, led by younger members of their species, opened communication channels with the Alliance. But the largest segment of their fleet, commanded by the oldest and most indoctrinated leaders, responded with unprecedented fury. They launched a final, massive assault on the galactic core, determined to destroy civilization itself rather than face the truth about their origins. What followed was the largest space battle in recorded history. The Alliance's combined fleet, led by human tacticians and powered by alien technology, met the Void Dweller assault head-on. The fighting lasted weeks, spreading across multiple star systems. The battle's tide turned not through superior firepower or clever tactics, but through an act of sacrifice that stunned both sides. A group of Silicon Consensus ships, the same faction that had most opposed human influence, deliberately overloaded their drive cores to create a temporary artificial quantum singularity. The maneuver destroyed a third of the Void Dweller fleet but cost the Silicon Consensus their most advanced vessels and many of their bravest crews. When asked why they had done it, their response echoed human sentiments: because survival isn't just about existing. It's about being worthy of existence. The war ended not with unconditional surrender, but with something more profound: transformation. The Void Dwellers who chose to communicate with the Alliance accepted help in safely unlocking their evolutionary potential. Those who couldn't face change retreated to the intergalactic void, their power broken, their truth revealed. In the war's aftermath, galactic civilization faced its own evolution. The careful order of the bureaucracy had been shattered, but something new and potentially stronger was emerging. Species that had once been content with stasis began exploring new possibilities. The human concept of continuous improvement, of learning from mistakes and adapting to challenges, spread throughout the galaxy. Ambassador Smith, speaking at the first assembly of the reformed Galactic Council, addressed these changes directly: we didn't come here to teach you how to fight. We came to join a community of worlds. If we've taught you anything, it's that growth requires both stability and change, both preservation and adaptation. The trick is finding the balance. The integration of human ideas with alien wisdom led to unprecedented advances. The Void Dwellers' technology, now better understood, was adapted to peaceful purposes. The defensive innovations from the war were transformed into exploration tools. Even the virus research led to breakthroughs in medical science and genetic healing. But perhaps the most significant change was philosophical. The galaxy had learned that peace wasn't just the absence of conflict, it was the presence of justice, growth, and the courage to face uncomfortable truths. High Counselor Ryland, speaking privately to Ari Galin as they watched the construction of a new council chamber, summed up the transformation. We feared humanity would destroy our order. Instead, they showed us that true order isn't static. It's dynamic, always balancing tradition with innovation, stability with growth. Ari nodded, watching a group of human and alien children playing in the chamber's garden. They've changed us forever. No, Ryland corrected gently, his crystalline form catching the light of a new dawn. They've reminded us how to change ourselves. The story of humanity's impact on galactic civilization didn't end with the Void Dweller War. In many ways, it was just beginning. The principles that had helped win the war, adaptability, courage, moral strength, and the balance between preservation and growth, became the foundation of a new galactic society. The bureaucracy remained, but it evolved. Rather than simply maintaining order, it began fostering controlled innovation. Rather than fearing change, it learned to guide it. The human concept of continuous improvement was balanced with alien wisdom about stability and tradition. Sarah Chen, the cargo pilot whose observation had first spotted the Void Dweller approach, eventually became the head of a new galactic exploration initiative. Under her leadership, the galaxy began pushing its boundaries again, not just physically but philosophically. Dr. Martinez's research team, working with reformed Void Dwellers, made breakthrough discoveries about genetic engineering and evolutionary development. Their work led to new understanding of life itself, and how species could guide their own evolution without losing their essential nature. Even the Silicon Consensus, once humanity's strongest critics, found a new role as the galaxy's foremost experts in calculating controlled risks and managing dynamic systems. But perhaps the most profound change was in how the galaxy viewed itself. The comfortable stasis of the past was replaced by a new vision, a civilization that could face challenges, adapt to changes, and grow stronger through diversity while maintaining its core principles. Ambassador Smith, in her final address before retiring, spoke of this new vision. We came to the stars carrying our dreams, our fears, and our determination to survive. We found a galaxy that taught us about order, wisdom, and the value of stability. Together, we've created something greater than either of us could have achieved alone, a civilization that can both endure and evolve. As new challenges emerged and new species joined the galactic community, this balance between stability and growth, between preservation and adaptation, became the cornerstone of a new age. The galaxy had learned that true strength wasn't in perfect order or constant change, but in the wisdom to know when to hold fast and when to transform. The human phrase, per aspera ad astra, through hardship to the stars, took on new meaning. It became a reminder that the greatest achievements often come through facing challenges rather than avoiding them, through embracing change while holding on to core values. And somewhere in the vast intergalactic void, the remaining Void Dwellers watched and waited, a reminder that the price of freedom was eternal vigilance, and that the greatest victories were not those won through force alone, but through the courage to face truth and the wisdom to grow from it.